Last time we were seeing the instructions which were given to Savitri by the mighty voice, the voice from the transcendental Savitri, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And finally, she is told, as a part of that whole process, she shall harbor her force in her soul and she shall conquer death. So that is the objective, that is the siddhi, that is the realization, that is the fruit, the reward of Savitri's yoga. This is what she is going to get. She has to do and she will achieve. There is certainty there. Now, thou shalt harbor my force. We have two very distinct passages in Savitri where the divine force is now present in the soul of Savitri. We'll quickly see them before we proceed further. It is, first passage is in the same book, Canto 5, 127, section 127. This is in a way significant also. See, Savitri is going from place to place. She is entering into the inner chambers. She is crossing door after door, and finally, suddenly she meets her soul. And the moment she meets her soul, the divine soul from above and the soul which is there within the heart of Savitri, they merge into each other. The divine soul, Savitri, divine Savitri, and the Savitri who is here in her heart, they merge and become one. That is the finding of the soul for Savitri. Now, as far as the human Savitri is concerned, that union has taken place between the divine soul, divine Savitri, and the Savitri which is seated in the soul. As far as human Savitri is concerned, she was human upon earthly soil. Once more she was. After that union, she is again union. You see, because the whole thing has to happen in the human condition. It has to happen in the actual human condition. In the muttering night amid the rain-swept woods and in rude cottage where she sat in trance, the subtle world withdrew deeply within, behind the sand veil of the inner sight. And then he says, but now, after that union of the divine Savitri and the Savitri in his soul, after that, but now the half-opened lotus of her heart had bloomed and stood disclosed to the earthly ray. The Hridaya Chakra that has opened out, the lotus in the heart that has opened out here. In an image shone revealed her secret soul. There was no wall severing the soul and mind, no mystic fence guarding from the claims of life. In its deep lotus home, her being sat as if on concentration's marble seat, calling the mighty mother of the world to make this earthly tenement her house. To make this earthly tenement her house. The mighty mother, divine Savitri, she is mocking there. No, that is what he says, harbor my soul, my force. The passage we are doing, harbor my force. No. In its deep lotus home, her being sat as if on concentration's marble seat, calling the mighty mother of the world to make this earthly tenement her house. As in a flash from a supernal light, a living image of the original power, the divine Savitri, a face, a form came down into her heart and made of it its temple and pure abode. That heart became the abode of that original power in the soul. But when its feet had touched the quivering bloom, a mighty movement rocked the inner space, as if a world was shaken and found its soul out of the inconscient, soulless, mindless night. A flaming serpent rose, released from sleep. Now, with that descent of divine Savitri in her soul and that union, all the centers of Savitri's subtle body, they get awakened. The Kundalini, the serpent force, that starts rising with you. A flaming serpent rose, released from sleep. It rose, billowing its coils, and stood erect, and climbing mightily, stormily on its way. It touched her centers with its flaming mouth. The serpent with its flaming mouth, as if a fiery kiss had broken their sleep of those centers. They bloomed and laughed, surcharged with light and bliss. That is the power of Savitri's Kundalini. They bloomed and laughed, surcharged with light and bliss. Then, at the crown, it joined the eternal space. In the flower of the head, in the flower of matter space, all the centers. In each divine stronghold and nature knot, it held together the mystic stream which joined the viewless summits with the unseen depth. The string of force that made a frail defense safeguarding us against the enormous world. We'll see it again in more detail. I'm just rushing through here now. Our lines of self-expression in its was an image sat of the original power, wearing the mighty mother's form and face. Armed, bearer of the weapon and a sign. So she is holding the weapon in her hand. Sign, the mother symbol. She is there holding that, you see. Whose occult might no magic can imitate. That is extremely important. You see, I mean, in the occult world, you can imitate somebody. In fact, that is exactly what the mother did. That is how she deceived Hitler. She had put on the form of the Lord of Nations and instructed Hitler, do this, do that, and finished, you see. So that imitation is there. And bearer of the weapon and the sign, whose occult might no magic can imitate, manifold yet one, she sat, a guardian for a savior gesture stretched her lifted arm, and symbol of some native cosmic strength, a sacred beast lay prone below her feet. That is Durga, lion, riding on that, you see. A silent, flame-eyed mass of living force, see. All underwent a high celestial change, breaking the blackened conscience blind mute wall, effacing the circles of the ignorant. Powers and divinities burst flaming forth. Each part of the being trembling with delight lay overwhelmed with tides of happiness and saw her hand in every circumstance and felt her touch in every limb and cell. In the country of the lotus of the head, which thinking mind has made its busy space, in the castle of the lotus twixt the brows, Ajna Chakra. Brows, whence it shoots the arrows of its sight and will, knowledge and power wisdom. In the passage of the lotus of the throat, where speech must rise, and expressing mind, and a heart's impulse turn towards word and fact, a glad uplift and a new working came. So all the centers now are doing something else which they were not aware of until now, with the descent of that power. See. The immortal's thoughts displays our bounded view. That is the first change. What change has taken place? Our thoughts are now replaced by immortal thought. The immortal's thoughts us dream idea and say, all things now bore a deeper, heavenlier sense. A glad, clear harmony marked the truth's outline, reset the balance and measures of the world. Then further down, each shape showed its occult design, that mighty change he is describing, you see. Unveiled God's meaning in it for which it was made, and the vivid splendor of his artist thought. A channel of the mighty mother's joy, the immortal's will into his calm control, our blind or erring government of life, a loose republic once of wants and need, then bow to the uncertain sovereign mind. Life now obeyed to a diviner rule, and every act became an act of God. That is a mighty change with the descent of that power. Every act became an act of God. Then further down, you see, he has described only the upper part, this center, and this center. And every act has already become the act of God. Then further down, in the kingdom of the lotus of the heart, Anahata Chakra, here. Love chanting is pure hymeneal hymn, made life and body mirrors of sacred joy, and all the emotions gave themselves of God. In the navel, further down, see, navel lotus's broad imperial reign, its proud ambition and its masterless were tamed into instruments of a great calm sway to do a work of God on earthly soil. So now this center, further down. See. In the narrow nether center's petty palm, its childish game of daily dark desire was changed into a sweet and boisterous play, a romp of little gods with life in time. And then further down, in the deep place where once the serpent slept, Muladhara, there came a grip on matter's giant powers for large utilities and life's little space. A firm ground was made for heaven's descending might. So actually that is the function of matter. That is what matter has to do. It has to become a firm ground to hold the power of the divine which is descending down. Matter provides a firmness, solidity, concreteness. A firm ground was made for heaven's descending might. It is that alone which can hold the powerful power. Behind all reigned her sovereign, deathless soul, casting aside all its veil of ignorance. So, this is the description we have here, and then there is one more, but that I will not read, I will just give the reference at the moment. It is in Book 10, Canto 4, towards the end, 147. Now, this is actually when Savitri is face to face with death. Death is not yielding. But then finally, there is what might call clash of argument against argument, logomachy. But it is more than that. Each time something is uttered, a power is released in the occult operation. Savitri says something, a power gets released. Death says something, the power gets released. So it is a clash of power against power in that sense. And death is firm, he is not yielding at all to Savitri. And then finally Savitri says that, look, this will not do. She retires into the house of meditation, as I told you last time. And there she sees the burning flame there, and the whole thing changes with that. And then ultimately death says, if the mighty mother is hiding behind you, if the truth supreme is there with you, let me also look at her, that I may worship her. That I may worship her. That was enough for Savitri. In other words, practically, death had considered the victory to Savitri. If the mighty mother is with you, let me see her. Let the eyes of truth look into my eyes of death. And then Savitri, at that point of time, she doesn't argue further. Then this is what I got. And Savitri looked on death and answered not. It was not necessary for her to answer anymore. Almost it seemed as if in a symbol shape, the world's darkness had consented to heaven light, and God needed no more the inconscious screen. A mighty transformation came on her. Savitri now is a different Savitri altogether. And the transformation, the divine power is descending into her various centers. All the centers are now getting occupied by the divine power here. And with those powers now in all the centers of a subtle body, she is addressing to death. So here we have again harbor my force. This is what we have been saying. Harbor my force. So these are the two instances of how Savitri has harbored the force of the mighty mother. Thou shalt harbor my force. That is what we are at. So Savitri has really now established that. She was told, harbor my force, and then you will become victorious. That she has achieved. And then, of course, conquered death. So the prescription is very strictly followed by Savitri. Otherwise, this would not happen, you see. She was told, do this, do this, do this, do this, and she has done all those things she was told to do. And now she is ready to face death and conquer death, vanquish death. See. So that way, the seed of her yogic power is already cast here in this one. Now there is one more point which we had to recognize. See, this is something which happens when Savitri has already done some kind of yoga. To come to this point does not happen suddenly like that, last minute. The divine voice comes and tells her, do this, do this, do this. It means that Savitri, as a support, as an adhara, is ready even much before than this. And that kind of a preparation she has done to some extent in this life, even as a princess in the palace. She was the daughter of a yogi, Ashwapati. And definitely she must have received something from him. That sanskara, that influence is there already in her soul and everywhere, you see. So that kind of a preparation is there already. That punya, if you want to call it, that merit of Savitri's soul is already present there. And it is that which becomes the basis for her to now take this major step from this point onward. Her Savitri's yoga is already done. In fact, the same thing we have already seen in the case of Satyavan. He had grown in the company of the rishis and nature and all that thing and acquired divine knowledge already. So that kind of an association was there, the spiritual growth had already taken place to that extent. So the base was formed and therefore she could really go very rapidly on this path. You see, rapidly. Therefore, Savitri by her doomed husband sat. Now, I don't like this word doomed, but you have to understand it also, see. See, this is all happening in the bedroom of Satyavan and Savitri, wherever there, you see. He is sleeping there and she is going through all those spiritual experiences and realizations already, you see. Now, he, of course, doesn't know that death is waiting for him next day, Satyavan. Savitri is fully aware of it. But Savitri does not see him as a doomed person. Savitri does not see him now anymore as a doomed person because she has got the conviction that she shall harbor the divine force in her soul and conquer death. So she doesn't see in that sense that he is doomed. In that sense, she doesn't see it that way. But the poet is trying to emphasize the contrast between the two states by saying doomed husband. all still rigid in a golden, motionless pose, a statue of the fire of the inner sun. So it is a statue of fire. Can you imagine? Statue of fire of the inner sun. Now, fire of the inner sun. The Savitri's soul is already that fire. Divine Agni. Divine Agni. It is Agni who takes the material form. It is Agni who takes the material form. He is the form giver, he is the form creator, Agni. And therefore, he is a statue in that sense. Still, calm, quiet, yet bright, intense, brilliant, Agni, burning all the while, living. Fire of the inner sun. Now, sun, Agni, these are the forms of what Sri Aurobindo calls Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu. Vishnu himself is the form of Agni. So who is burning here? It is that Mahavishnu. It is his sun which is now burning in the soul of Savitri already in that sense. The moment the voice says, see, that is the first kind of a gift the voice has given to Savitri. Fire the inner sun. In the black night, the wrath of storm swept by. The thunder crashed above her head. The rain hissed, its million footsteps pattered on the roof. Impassive made the movement and the cry. Witness of the thoughts of mind, the modes of life, she looked into herself and sought for her soul. Her soul, not for soul, sought for her soul, her own soul, you see, not soul. Each soul has its own individuality, its own uniqueness, its own characteristic svabhava, quality, guna dharma, as we call it. The functional role which each soul has to play, that is the quality, that is the guna dharma, guna, quality, dharma. So she is therefore seeing that svabhava of her soul, that quality of her soul, and what it is supposed to do. She is supposed to do finally harbor the divine force in her soul and vanquish death. That is her present task. Transformation, the voice does not speak anything about that. The necessary condition for the transformation is that Savitri must vanquish death. Necessary condition. Now, so we can say in that sense, the recipe comes up to the point of the vanquishing of death, does not speak of transformation. You see, it does not speak of that, you see. What will happen? That is too early for even for the voice to say. First you please do this, come to this point, and then things will happen to you. Then things will be shown to you. So to expect that Sri Aurobindo Savitri will give you a recipe for transformation, I think that is our misconception. The entire objective, the entire thrust at this point is to remove death from across the path of the divine event. The divine event will start moving, and in that process, when the divine event starts moving, things will happen. Transformation, you are too eager, too early, too anxious, but that is not the thing at the moment, you see. So the whole scope of Savitri's thesis is this particular one at the moment. He is not going to give the recipe for transformation. She looked into herself and sought for her soul. She was told, and now she is on the way. Now, this is something extremely complex. A dream disclosed to her the cosmic past. Well, there is nothing complicated in terms of English. It's very plain sentence, you see. But the contents are absolutely complex, you see. Metrically, the line is very simple. A dream, that is an I am, disclosed another I am to her, Pirik. The cusp, again an I am, and then make past, and I am. So we have got in the middle a Pirik, and on either side two I ams line. Kind of a balance is maintained in the metrical system, you see. A dream disclosed to her the cosmic past. And see the alliteration D and S, alliteration in terms of, you see, disclose, this, D is there, and then S is here, S is here, S is here, S is here. The alliteration is very effective, you see. It's very powerful alliteration, you see. A dream disclosed to her cosmic path. And you can quietly also listen to the alliteration of C, disclosed, cosmic path. C. See. A dream disclosed to her the cosmic past. What we have seen until now was basically all that happened until now in the book of Yoga, the first canto and the first section of this canto is what one would call Savitri's yoga of wakefulness. Wakefulness, Jagruta. There are 4 stages. First is wakefulness. The second is dream. Third is sleep. And fourth is ineffable. Indescribable. Wakefulness, dream, sleep, and ineffable. 4 states of consciousness. So Savitri is now stepping from Jagruta, from wakefulness, to Swapna, dream. She is stepping into the Swapna consciousness. Pardon me? Swapna, this is a dream disclosed. It starts with that word, you see, dream disclosed to her. She is entering into the Swapna consciousness. See, this word is important. I mean, it's purposely put there, dream. Now, all these discussions are there in the Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, and I will just quickly give some idea about that. Jagruta, he is the waker who wakes you up. He is also what is called, later on we'll see, Virat. Virat, vast, also cosmic. Virat, Virat. Dreamer, second step is dreamer, he is the dreamer. Swapna, he is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb. Hiranyagarbha, Virat Hiranyagarbha. Third is sleeper, that is Sushupti. He is Prajnana Ghana, or divine knowledge. So Virat then Hiranyagarbha, then Prajnana Ghana, and beyond that is the indescribable Om. Ineffable, Turiya. Turiya. So you have got Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, Turiya. So what we have here now yogically is basically, essentially, Savitri is stepping from the Jagrata into the dream. And what is the dream? The first important thing which Savitri sees is that the whole cosmic past, which is sleeping there all along in her, she is now kind of dreaming the entire past history of the whole creation. Right from the beginning, how things started growing from inconscience, how they have come to the present state of mind, mental. So she is now sort of surveying the whole cosmic evolution in the dream consciousness. She is surveying the whole dream consciousness. She is getting awakened. She is now realizing what had happened throughout the life. You see. A dream disclosed to her the cosmic path, the crypt seed and the mystic origin, how things really began. The crypt, the vault which is there underneath, everything is kept inside. It is in the form of a seed, bija. Everything is present there in that room. And the mystic origin, the shadowy beginning of world fate, because we are not aware of it, they are lying there underneath in the sheet. A lamp, a symbol, lighting hidden truth, image to her the world's significance. So that dream is telling to Savitri the significance of this world. World's significance. So this is the kind of an introduction to her dream consciousness, you see. How systematically the whole essay is developed, you see. In the indeterminate formlessness of self. Now he is describing the entire early beginning. There was nothing. Everything was indeterminate. The whole chapter is there in the Life Divine on determination in indeterminates, you see. In the indeterminate formlessness of self, creation took its first mysterious steps. How the whole thing started from indeterminate. Nothing was formed, nothing is there. Because everything is in the crypt seed, in the form of a seed, which is hidden, concealed from our knowledge. The indeterminate formlessness of self, creation took its first mysterious step. It made the body shape a house of soul. So all along it has gone, and come to this point that the body has now become the house for the soul to come and live. In the beginning it was not there at all, you see. So in one sentence he has described the whole process. How? And matter learned to think and person grew. She is surveying the whole past, and she is now, until now, matter was indeterminate, was not able to do anything at all, but now it has started thinking, it has come to this point, you see. And saw space, people with the seeds of life, and saw the human creature born in time. It has already come. I mean, it's a complete panorama, you see, first. And then he will go into more and more details of this thing, you see. At first appeared a dim, half-neutral tide of being emerging out of the infinite naught. Now he is elaborating what he has stated, you see. Emerging out of the infinite naught, out of nothing, appeared a dim, half-neutral tide. A consciousness looked at the inconscient vast. Somewhere, some kind of an awareness is coming in the inconscient. And pleasure and pain stirred the insensible void, the void which had no sense at all, which had no faculty to realize whether it's pain or happiness or joy. It had nothing of that kind. Now it has started feeling something already. All was the deed of a blind world energy. But who achieved all that thing? andha prakriti, andha, blind, world energy, prakriti. She does not know what she is doing, but as if there is something which is making her do those things with a certainty, with a purpose. She is not aware what she is going to achieve, but she is as if driven by something and she is doing all these things with you. All was deed of a blind world energy, unconscious of her own exploits. She worked that world energy under Prakriti, shaping a universe out of the inane. In fragmentary being, she grew aware, a chaos of little sensibilities gathered round a small ego's pinpoint head. So small things are happening around here and they are becoming the centers of perception. Ego in that state is important, is necessary because it kind of gathers and holds on what it has gained at that point. Grew aware, a chaos of little sensibilities gathered round a small ego's pinpointed. In it, a sentient creature found its poise, a sentient creature. So until now there was no sense at all, there was no sensibility at all. Even in the plant life has entered, some kind of sentience has come, it will go more and more into human state, you see. It moved and lived a breathing, thinking whole. So life and mind have started appearing in that state, you see. On a dim of subconscious life, a formless surface consciousness awoke. So that is the next. See, he is very rapidly describing the whole thing, but it must have taken millennia, you see, millions of years. You see. It didn't happen in one day, you see, in one second. On a dim ocean, a subconscious life, a formless surface consciousness awoke, a stream of thoughts and feelings came and went. So, this is the stream of thought. This is the modern psychological phrase, stream of thought, dream. Stream of consciousness, as the psychologists say, stream of consciousness. So the entire cosmic past which I got here is basically tracing the stream of consciousness. Is basically tracing the stream of consciousness, as the psychologists say. On a dim ocean, the subconscious life, a formless surface consciousness of over. A stream of thoughts and feelings came and went. A foam of memories hardened and became a bright crust of habitual sense and thought, a seat of living personality, and recurrent habits mimicked permanent. Now this was important. See, to get a certain kind of a firmness, again the power of dissolution in the void, you have to have something which is very concrete and definite. And it is that which is now provided by the ego sense. It is holding on to something. Otherwise, whatever gain you have got might get lost in the void. The void will simply swallow it up. So to hold something against the void, that is a tremendous moment. And I would say that is the role of the ego at that point of time in the stream of consciousness. It holds on. Otherwise, it will get dissolved, it will lost. In fact, even for us at the mental level, ego is necessary. Otherwise, the entire sea of forces around you will simply swallow you up and you won't be nowhere. So, ego is necessary. But when you are doing spiritual sadhana consciously, then it becomes a bar. Then it becomes a bar. It comes in the way. And that has to go away at that point. Because now your focus is now shifting from, not from ego, from surface consciousness, but to something inner, towards soul. And you have to give more and more prominence to the whole which you are going to gain in this soul. And therefore the ego has to go away at that point. But until then, ego is necessary. A seat of living personality and recurrent habits mimic permanence. So, recurrent habit, a flower fades, but the Flowers fade, but the flower remains. Men die, that man lives. Man, that is the permanent. We die, but that mental being is there. That is the process of evolution, of growth. Recurrent habits mimic permanence. So our immortality is through death. At a moment, our immortality is through death, you see. Because it is through that we keep on appearing again and again and again and again to make progress. Through death. Mind nascent labored out a mutable form. It built a mobile house on shifting sand, a floating isle upon a bottomless sea. See, that is what mind can do best. But it has done. See, in the present condition, in this present state, it was necessary, and I would say it has really achieved something very miraculous, something very definite, very positive. You see, conscious being was by this labor made. So he is describing the entire process of sensibility of indeterminates becoming smaller and smaller determinates, ego sense, surface consciousness, and it has come now to the point of a conscious being. By this labor made, it looked around it on its difficult field, in the green, wonderful and perilous earth. It hoped in a brief body to survive, relying on matter's false eternity. Well, that has a base, but it has given a certain kind of a permanent support that was necessary. It felt a godhead in its fragile house. So matter is firm, stubborn, and all of it. Still, it is a fragile house, matter's house. It saw blue heavens, dreamed immortality. Who? That it, that being, a conscious being. And saw blue heaven, dreamed immortality. A conscious soul in the inconscious world, hidden behind our thoughts and hopes and dreams, an indifferent master signing nature's acts, lived the vicegerent mind, a seeming king. Mind is acting on behalf of somebody else. He is vicegerent. Somebody, the royalty, the sovereign has given powers to act on his behalf in the governance of the country, kingdom. That is vicegerent. So mind has acquired that. That is what vicegerent means, you see. Mind is seeming king. He is not really the king, but he has been given the power to act on behalf of somebody else. Why? Because things have to be done in the inconscient world. Of course, we might be very clever and ask the question, why can't that fellow who is giving the power to mind act himself directly in the inconscient world? He cannot, because the master cannot act directly there. Because it needs a certain kind of preparation for his actions to be established here. To be established here. And that preparation is made by the lower instruments. By ego, by mind. They are preparing the instruments, you see. See, it's like saying, why all these things should happen. First comes matter, then comes life, then comes mind, then comes supermind. Why can't that great supermind directly act in matter? After all, it's a great supermind. Why can't it act directly? It cannot, it will not, for the benefit of matter. If supermind were to directly act in matter without these stages, it would get simply crushed. The entire purpose of establishing the higher possibilities will not be achieved. It has to prepare step by step all these things. It will simply get crushed. at every stage. So there is a kind of a logic behind the entire operation step. So life comes, prepares matter in a certain way, mind comes, prepares life in matter in another way, and therefore matter becomes more and more ready to receive higher and higher powers. If the higher power were to directly act in matter, matter will simply get crushed, you see. In this floating house upon the sea of time, this regent, he is the delegated, sits at work and never rests. He is a puppet of the dance of time. He is driven by the hours, the moment's call, compels him with the thronging of lives and need and the babble of the voices of the world. Babble, all kind of noises are made, and as a result of that, we cannot really understand what is happening, you see. That is Babel. Voices are there, all kinds of noises are there. In fact, that is how they were designed, so that the tower to heaven could not be built. The builders, the construction people would get terribly confused with all kinds of noises and they would stop working further, see. And a babble of the voices of the world. This mind knows silence, knows not dreamlessly. Well, this is the evolutionary mind. This mind knows what it implies is that if mind has to do something more than what it is presently doing, it must know what silence is. You have to have silent mind. You have to have dreamless sleep. Dreamless sleep. You are in the pure Sushupti consciousness. In the incessant circling of his stem, thoughts straight forever through the listening brain. It toils like a machine and cannot stop. That is what mind keeps on doing all the while, you see. Into the body's many-storied room, endless crowd down the dream God's messages. Because of the mind's activity, all is a hundred-tone murmur and babble and stir. So this is the babble, the children, the way they talk with each other and stir. Murmur and babble and stir. See, he has used babble here, he has used babble here, you see. All is a hundred-tone murmur and babble and stir. There is a tireless running to and fro. That is what mind's activity is all the while, constantly, you see. A haste of movement and a ceaseless cry, a hurried servant senses answer appears to every knock upon the outer door. So somebody comes and knocks on the door and the senses rush there, appears quickly, swiftly to answer them, you see. You see something very beautiful, something ugly, suddenly it keeps on making impact on you, straight away, you see. To every knock upon the outer door, bring light visitors, report each call, admit the thousand queries and the call, and the messages of communicating mind, and the heavy business of unnumbered lives, and all the thousandfold commerce of the world. That is what the mind is busy with all the while. Even in the tracks of sleep is scant repose, because our sleep is not a dreamless sleep. It is not a dreamless sleep at all. Actually, we are not aware of the dreams, we constantly keep on dreaming in the sleep. Only for a few seconds, for a few minutes perhaps, we have true, pure, dreamless sleep. And those few minutes, that is the real rest you get. Otherwise, your mind is constantly busy, dreaming is going on constantly, you see. So the nerves don't feel nothing at all, you see. Only those for 4 minutes. In fact, that dreamless sleep, maybe for a few minutes in the whole night, It is that which puts you directly in contact with your psychic being. And then you have true happy rest, bright, luminous rest. And it is that which energizes you for your work. Otherwise, we may be sleeping 8 hours, 10 hours, but no good, you see. He mocks life's steps in strange subconscious dream. He strays in a sublime realm of simple scene. His night with thin air visions and dim form, he packs our peoples with sight, drifting shame, and only a moment spent in silent self. You see, only a moment spent in silent self, in the inner consciousness, in the true consciousness. He says, I was giving you a few minutes, but he says only a minute. Adventuring into infinite mind space, he unfolds his wings of thought in inner air, or traveling in imagination's car, crosses the globe, journeys beneath the stars. So that is what we do in the dream. Go everywhere in the cosmos. Imagination's car, that is what we do. See. Crosses the globe, journeys beneath the star, to subtle worlds takes his ethereal goal, visits the gods on life's miraculous being, communicates with heaven, tampers with hell. This is what happens all the while. This is the little surface of man's life. So he has described all those things hurriedly, say. He is this and he is all the universe. He scales the unseen. His depths dare the abyss. A whole mysterious world is locked within. This is summary. We are not aware of it. A whole mysterious world is locked within. Unknown to himself lives a hidden king behind us. Behind rich tapestries. What beautiful poetry also, he is describing such difficult subjects, topics, but what poetry, see. Imagination scar, we are going to constellations and galaxies and to inner spaces and outer spaces. Unknown to himself lives a hidden king, behind rich tapestries in great secret rooms, an epicure of the spirit's unseen joy. So he is a connoisseur of good taste. Epicure, you see. Like French food, you see. Of the spirit's unseen joy. He lives in the sweet honey of solitude, and named as God in an unapproachable pain. Pain is a small shrine in a remote place, inaccessible place. In the secret adytum of his inmost soul, the sanctum sanctorum, the deepest, the holiest part of the temple, the inner chamber. And nameless God in an unapproachable fame, in the secret adytum of his inmost soul, he guards the beings covered mysteries beneath the threshold behind shadowy gale, or shut in vast cellars of inconscient sleep. The immaculate, divine, all wonderful, cast into the argent purity of his soul. So it is that wonderful who really puts something in his soul, argent, silvery, bright, pure. Argent stands for white purity, you see. Purity of his soul, his splendor and his greatness and the light, his splendor and his greatness and the light. See again the rhythm. His splendor, that is I am. And then and Pirik. His greatness, again I am. Nes and again Pirik, and the light. So we have got a very beautiful rhythm, you see. I am Pirik, I am Pirik, I am. You see. His splendor and his greatness and the light of self-creation in time's infinity as into a sublimely mirroring glass. So the glass is mirroring all these things, is seeing that. Man in the world's life works out the dreams of God. He is not aware of them, but this is what he is doing actually. And all this is being seen by Savitri as a part of her cosmic survey. As a part of the cosmic survey. Man in the world's life works out the dreams of God, but all is there, even God's opposite. He is a little friend of nature's works, a thinking outline of a cryptic force. Man in the world's life works out the dreams of God. In spite of the presence of God's opposites. All is there. And he is working out the dreams of God in that all. And that all contains even the opposites of God, Deus right. So that's a great thing man is doing. He is a little friend of nature's work, a thinking outline of a cryptic force, the force who don't know how it's working, mysterious. All she reveals in him, that is in her. In other words, basically, man is her product. Whatever she has, only that much he has. Don't think that you are more than nature. It means that. All she reveals in him, that is in her. Her glory is what in him, and her darknesses, both the bright and the dark. Everything is there. Man's house of life hosts not the gods alone. So the contrast is there because he's talking of, now he's elaborating on the God's opposites. See? Gods alone. There are occult shadows, there are tenebrous powers in the subconscious down below. Shadows are there, living shadows are there, occult shadows. And there are tenebrous powers. Inhabitants of life's ominous neither room. A shadowy world, stupendous denizens. They are the people who live in the shadowy world. A careless guardian of his nature's power, man harbors dangerous forces in his house. We are not aware of them, but they are there, you see. We become sometimes aware when we get hit by the terrorist, by so these are the forces we harbor in us. You see.
This is terrible.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. A careless guardian of his nature's power, man harbors dangerous forces in his house. The Titan and the Fury and the Jinn lie bound in the subconscious cavern pit, and the beast grovels in his anthill den. Dire mutterings rise and murmur in their drought. So he's given some examples of the dangerous forces. The Titan, the Fury, the Jinn, Asura, Rakshasa, Pishacha, they are there in us. Asura, Rakshasa, Pishacha, Titan. The Titan, in the Greek mythology, there were 12 Titans, no? 12 Titans. And then later on, they were defeated by the Olympians, Zeus and other gods. So in the Titanomachy, the battle between the gods, the Olympian gods, and the Titans was a decisive battle when the Titans were defeated and the gods established themselves. And then began the Greek civilization with that. Then began the Greek civilization. Furies, angers, hatred, jealousy, opposite of angels. Jinn, that is a famous thing. You rub a lamp and the jinn comes and will grant you whatever wish you have in your mind. You want a house, you want this, you want that, you want a great pizza, okay, here is the pizza for you. So jinn will grant you instantly everything then. And finally, it became so troublesome that jinn, Solomon trapped him in the lamp and threw away in the sea so that nobody could rub it, see. So that was his part of the wisdom, you see. Jinn, yeah. Yeah. This is basically jinn belongs to the Arabic terminology. Yeah, it is Arabic. Yeah, yeah. But fury is Greek. Titan is of course Greek. Fury is Greek. Titan is Greek. But this is Arabic. In the Indian language, we say Pishacha, Rakshasa, Asura. The lower vital, just the vital without mind, and Asura is strong mind. The Titan and the Fury and the Jinn lie bound in the subconscious cavern pit, and the beast, that is the vital being. That is the vital being. Grovels in his anteden, dire mutterings rise and murmur in their drowse. Insurgent sometimes raises his huge head, a monstrous mystery lurking in life's deep, the mysteries of dark and fallen world, the dread visages of the adversary king. So the entire past Savitri is seeing adversary kings, how they are fallen language. Savitri is serving the entire past, you see, in the dream. A dream disclosed to her the cosmic past. That is how the whole thing begins. The dream disclosed to her the cosmic past. Insurgent, the dread visages of the adversary king. The dreadful powers held down within his depths become his masters or his ministers. He is man. He stands of course for man. Enormous they invade his bodily house, can act in his acts, infest his thought and life. This is what happens. You get possessed by these powers and you act. That is what has happened in the case of great people. Hitler was possessed. Later, Gandhi was also possessed. Stalin was possessed. They possess them and act them. Inferno surges into the human air and touches all with a perverting breath. In fact, inferno surges the human air. This is what happened at the Holocaust. The whole Holocaust, you see. Yeah. Grey forces like a thin miasma creep. So, on the wall, the miasma is there rising. It gives you all kind of ominous, very bad odors, smell, obnoxious odors. Grey forces like a thin miasma creep, stealing through chinks in his closed mansion door, discoloring the walls of upper mind. What a vivid description, you see. Discoloring the wall, even our upper mind, higher mind also gets affected by the subconscious forces. We lose our sense of discoloring the walls of upper mind, in which he lives his fair and specious life, specious, deceptive life. Looks like truth, but it is not truth. And leave behind a stench of sin and death. That is what the subconscious forces do. Not only rise in him perverse drifts of thought and formidable formless influences, but there come presences and awful shame. So beings come to eat him, follow him. Tremendous forms and faces mount, dim step, and stare at time into his living room. So from the wall they come and look into the, start living in his room. Or called up for a moment's passionate work, lay a dire customs claim upon his heart. Aroused from sleep, they can be found no more. So once they are awakened from their subconscious sleep, then you can stop them. They will play havoc, not only in your life, but in the life of the world. Because you become now instrument for them to work. Afflicting the daylight and alarming night, invading at will his outer tenement, the stark glooms, a grisly, dire inhabitant, mounting into God's light, all light perturbed. So you may have that light, but then you start doubting, is it really true? That itself is the first corrosion which takes place in our case. You see. You know that this is definite, yet still something arises from you, from within. And then you start doubting, wondering, is this really true? Is it like that? Mounting into God's light, all light they perturb. All they had touched or seen, they made their own. They will possess everything, whatever they have. In nature's basement lodge, mind passages fill, disrupt thoughts, links, and musing sequences, break through the soul's stillness with a noise and cry, or they call the inhabitants of the abyss. So they will summon them up from below, you see, abyss. Or they call the inhabitants of the abyss. Invite the instincts to forbidden joys. See, they're lying buried within you, deep within, under you. But then something will call, come on, get up, have a feast. This is occasion for you. See. Invite instincts to forbidden joy, a laughter wake of dread demoniac mirth, and with neither right and revel shake life's floor. Impotent to quell his terrible prisoners, appalled the householder, helpless, sits above. So he becomes helpless. You have invited all these guests and they have taken possession of you. You can't do anything now against those people. Taken from him, his house, he is no more. So he is dismissed from his own house, you see. He is bound and forced, a victim of the play, or allured, joys in the mad and mighty din. His nature's dangerous forces have arisen. His man's nature is dangerous. All those who are there lying in the subconscious, they have come out, they have sprung up and hold at will a rebel's holiday. So they are happy, enjoying, merrymaking, you see. Aroused from the darkness where they crouched in the depths, prisoned from the sight, they can be held no more. You can't arrest them. They have been let loose. His nature's impulses are now his lord. So you are governed by nature, by sensuous things, by all these ugly things. Once quelled or wearing specious names and wealth, infernal elements, demon powers are there. So they are there all the while. Man's lower nature hides these awful gifts. We are not aware of them, but they are there. So if you want to really do purification of your nature, you have to really bring higher light, higher joy into that region and flood it. Then only you can make that transformation. This subconscious transformation becomes necessary before we can even think of higher transformation. All that is lying there underneath us. What the Indian psychologists would call Shadripu, the 6 enemies, Shadripu, 6 enemies. Kama, Krodha, Mbra, Moha, Matsara, Lobha. These are the 6. 6 Shadripus. They are there lying, they are waiting. Kama, lust, desire, possessiveness, covetousness, greed, jealousy. They are there in us. All these evils are there all the while. They have to transform. Man's lower nature hides anger, is also there. Krodha, anger. Man's lower nature hides this awful guilt. Their vast contagion grips sometimes man's world. And awful insurgence overpowers man's soul. In house and house, the huge uprisings grow. In house and house, the huge uprising grows because they are coming up from room to room. House means within us, there are different regions, there are different parts in our being. Hell's companies are loosed to do their work. Into the earthways, they break out from all doors, from any passage is enough for them, any opening is enough for them. Invade with bloodlust and a will to slay, and filled with horror and carnage, God's fair world. That is their task. opposites. He's now describing all those opposites, God's opposites, you see. Death and his hunters stop a victim earth. A terrible angel smiles at every door knocking. And awful laughter mocks at the world's pain. And massacre and torture grin at heaven. So they mock. All is the prey of the destroying foe. Creation rocks and tremble top and base. So because of them, this evil nature, yeah.
What is the meaning of death and its hunters stop?
Death and his hunters stop a victim earth.
To block the evolution?
Yeah, no, you see, death and his dogs, his people, his ministers, deaths. They stop a victim earth.
Earth is victim of them.
They are the victim of earth.
Stop means...
Like a
What
hunter,
do they stop?
like a hunter who is
What do
following
they stop?
a victim.
Stop is blocking?
Yes, blocking.
Stop it.
Yes, blocking.
Blocking.
Blocking. Yeah,
Blocking evolution. What blocking?
blocking.
They block what?
They block your path.
They block the path.
Yeah,
Ah, they block the path.
yeah. Stop.
Yes, something like that.
Earth is a victim. Earth is a victim. Earth is a victim, and she stopped. She stopped by death and his hunters. This evil nature housed in human hearts. So, what a picture of ours. This evil nature housed in human heart, a foreign inhabitant, a dangerous guest. The soul that harbors it, it can dislodge. So even the soul can be dislodged, you see. It is such power they have got. You see. Expel the householder, possess the house, take charge of the whole thing, you see. So even the soul is kicked out of the house, you see. By them. They don't care. And opposite potency. So this is what I was talking of, the opposite, thoughts opposite. And opposite potency, contradicting God. A momentary evil's almightiness, but luckily it is momentary. Evil's almightiness has straddled the straight path of nature's acts. He is kind of summarizing all these actions now in this sentence. Nature's path is straddled, the riding on both sides. It imitates the Godhead, it denies. So you behave like a God, yet you deny God. It imitates the Godhead, it denies. Puts on his figure and assumes his face. A Manichaean creator and destroyer. Now, this is a wonderful phrase. Manichaean. He has both the roles, dual. He is a creator, he is a destroyer. This is what has happened on the law. This can abolish man, annul his word. So this is what the Manichaean creature had done. All the God's opposites are summarized in this line. This can abolish man, annul his word. But then the yogi gives us consolation. We are waiting for this consolation. But there is a guardian power. There are hands that save. Calm eyes divine regard the human scene. There is somebody else supervising, overlooking, overseeing everything, you see. So that is a great, but there is a guardian power. If only we obey him and live and go by him, if only we catch hold of his hand, that hand which saves, then we are safe. Yeah, we will take up this next time. All the world's possibilities and man are waiting. See, this is a cosmic path Savitri is serving all along here. He has brought to the point of Manichaean creator and destroyer. Double role, you see, playing. Now, this entire cosmic past is what Savitri is surveying in a dream state. She is living the whole thing like a past. It is coming like a dream to her, through what stages she had gone since the beginning of this creation. Her entire yogic survey is sort of summarized here at this point. She is getting aware now in this condition about the things, through the processes she had gone earlier, all along, you see. She has come to this point. Now, the future will open. In fact, that is what we got. All the world's possibilities and man are awaiting. Although this is in the past, still there are possibilities which are waiting for that. The cosmic future, what she is perhaps trying to see in this condition. Here was cosmic past, but what about the cosmic future? This is what we've seen. Now, about this whole process of evolution, which I got here described in roughly 47 sentences. The entire cosmic past is described in 47 sentences. We have something very wonderful in the record of yoga. I will copy down and post this thing also, but let me just tell you. He is talking of the evolutionary scale, describing the evolutionary scale. I will just read a few small things here and there. This one. We shall see how the thought of God works itself out in life. How the thought of God works itself out in life. The material world is first formed with the sun as center. The sun being itself only a subordinate star of the great Agni, Mahavishnu. Sun is still a subordinate star of great Agni, that is Mahavishnu. You want to know page 1323 onward. In whom is centered the Bhu. Bhu, that is earth. It is in Mahavishnu is centered Bhu. That is earth. Mahavishnu is the Virata Purusha, who as Agni pours himself out into the forms of sun and star. Sun and stars are formed. He is Agni, Tvashta, Vishwakarman, Prajapati. Three forms of Agni. These are the three primal Purushas of the earth life. Agni, Tvashta, Prajapati and Matarishwan. All of them soul bodies of Mahavishnu, the three forms of Agni. What are they? For certain forms, creation. Agni Tvashta, having made the sun out of the apas, the sun has been prepared out of water, apas, or waters of being. Prajapati, as Surya Savitri, enters into the sun and takes possession of it. The form which has been prepared, that is taken possession by Prajapati. He multiplies himself in the Suris or solar gods, who are the souls of the flames of Surya, Purushas or the female solar energies. Then he creates out of this solar body of Vishnu the planets. The planets, what we see, planets. Each of which successively becomes the Bhumi. Different planets, they become the ground, Bhumi. Bhumi or place of manifestation for Manu. For each planet, a Manu is there. The mental being, who is the nodus of manifest life existence and the link between life and the spirit. So Mano is the link between life and the spirit. That is the mental being. That is what we are. Man is the bridge. Mother says, no, between the animal and God, you see. The present earth in its turn appears as a scene of life. In the present cycle of creation, earth is a scene of life.
Scene.
Pardon me?
Scene.
Present, yeah.
What is scene? The sign
Scene.
is scene of life.
Scene of, where all these happenings are there.
Scene of life.
The present earth is, in its turn, appears as a scene of life. Mars being its last theatre.
Which one?
In the previous cycle, previous
But you say before each planet, so there
is the Bhumi for each cycle.
so there is man in many
Yes.
planets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So he says, in the present cycle, it is the earth. In the present cycle, is the earth.
Yeah, but before you said
Before was Mars.
and before
That is not given.
no, oh okay. So only we know about only
True. Yeah. Yeah. He is very specific. The present earth, in its turn, appears as the scene of life. Mars being its last theatre. All these things were happening in Mars. In the Bhumi, Agni Twastra, that is support, the ground. Agni Twastra is again the first principle. Matarishwan the second. Finally, Prajapati appears in the form of 4 Manus. He appears as 4 Manus and goes on like that. You see, it's a long description running into several pages. But basically, here you have got a more complete description of the cosmic past in that sense. And you get some idea here in the cosmic past which is being surveyed. Because if he has to write all those things, it will become another epic here. Another epic. So you can see how quickly, how rapidly, how description was moving also, you see. The Titan and the Fury and the Jinn, you see, each one description would mean pages and pages and pages, you see. So what the Greek mythology says, there is a certain truth in that. Later on, in the same chapter there, he speaks of all these forces. In the previous cycles, how Vanara, the monkey, was a certain type, how the Titans were there, all those things are described in that part. You see. The evolution, you see, that is the real evolution. So here, basically, we have here the occult aspect of evolution quickly described in 47 sentences of this canto. The evolution.
basically he says there.
Huh?
Also what is hidden within.
Yes.
Basically he says there also that we have all evolved out of Asuras.
Yeah.
That we were all these Asuras
Strong.
and now we have become human beings.
Mental state.
Yes.
In fact, if you see now there how the whole thing has developed, how the mental being appeared in the midst of all these life forces, gigantic forces of Rakshasa, Pishacha, Asuras. In this, the mental being has arrived and it is there, and Savitri too awoke among these human tribes. In Savitri. And Savitri too awoke among these human tribes. The second section of the symbol dawn opens with that line. Human tribes, all these things have grown. And it is there, Savitri. It is from that point onward, Savitri is now tracing the entire cosmic past. Savitri too awoke among these human tribes. You see.